Being a Sonic fan right now has been the best it's been in years. It's no big secret that the Sonic franchise has kind of been in the gutter for the past few years. Now, don't get me wrong, there have been really great things to come around during that time, but overall a lot of the major game releases weren't taken very well, and the community sentiment has been pretty negative. Now, the Sonic franchise has been on a slow comeback, with well-received releases like Sonic Prime and Sonic Frontiers, but things really turned around with Sonic X Shadow Generations as well as Sonic 3, which both have been pretty much universally reviewed as one of the best Sonic games or best Sonic movies ever, some even claiming they're the best. Now, to start with Sonic X Shadow Generations, or rather the Sonic portion, it's actually really good. Now, I understand this is just a remastered, but it does have some additional changes, like collectibles and chows that you can save. The game's visuals have also been improved, and the game itself is a super solid Sonic game, one of the best. So it's nice that it got a couple of improvements along with the visual updates. Playing through all of the levels, trying to get S rank on all of them, and then completing the challenges was a lot of fun, especially since some of them are really unique. The only negative thing I have to say is that some of the controls feel a little bit clunky and the white space is a bit simple. But the main reason I'm even bringing that up is because I happen to play Shadow Generations first. Now, I already know what you're thinking. The soldier in Shadow's flashback waved his hand out menacingly instead of using a gun, but it's still a good game. The white space changes are just awesome, going from 2D to a full-blown 3D area, and it allowed for the entire thing to feel like a level of sorts. I think having Chao to save would have also been really cool just to see them in the white space, but I understand why Shadow the Hedgehog wouldn't have Chao in his level. As far as actual gameplay controls are, it feels super tight and responsive, and it's just really well polished. There's also a good amount of button layout changes, at least on the PlayStation version I played, where they changed things like the homing attack and rail grinding for the better. This is what I meant by the first game, Sonic Generations, felt a little bit clunky in comparison to Shadow Generations. The level design is also just awesome, with the physical space itself, but also the presentation. Pretty much none of the levels have those wait for the platforms to move sections, and pretty much all of them are just completely 3D. You don't have that shifting between 2D and 3D, which personally I find a little bit annoying, but I know some people like it. And just the look and design is a spectacle for many of these. The story is also solid. It's not the most crazy thing ever, but it is interesting and kept me wanting to beat all of the levels, meaning it's well written. The final boss is also cool, and the ending is quite moving and emotional. It's a pretty big story beat for Shadow, which kinda just goes all back into the presentation, graphics, and just overall package that Sonic X Shadow Generations is. Not only that, but I haven't mentioned this yet, and it's the music. The music for Sonic games has always been some of the best songs in the industry. And I say songs because while some games have great soundtracks, you're not really going to be putting those on your main playlist that you jam out to. But with Sonic songs, you literally can. This presentation even goes outside of the game. The shadow animations released on YouTube for free are just spectacular. The quality of them and everything is what got me hyped for the game in the first place. Now, Sonic Team has been releasing animations for a lot of their games for a while now. This isn't anything new. But the culmination of these 3 videos into one 15-minute episode of some sorts is just a cut above the rest in quality presentation and storytelling. The movie DLC was also solid, however it was very short, though the presentation for it was absolutely incredible. I did find it odd that Shadow literally ends this first level by saying "I'll be back," and then that ended up being a lie because there's only one level. Again, cool, but just very short. Speaking of the movie, it's easily the best one in the trilogy so far. The previous movies were good and I liked them, however they've got some side plotlines and filler scenes that many people didn't care for, which is evident since the third movie has been the best received. This is one of those rare franchises where the movies get better as more are released. So, both the game in October and the movie in December was awesome, and both did very well and were well received, with Sonic 4 confirmed and even coming in a couple of years. And most recently, Sonic Racing Crossworlds has had some beta tests and is looking pretty promising. It does have some issues, but the core mechanics are there. Cars feel quick and responsive. There's also more weight to them in the way they drive around and bump into each other compared to something like Mario Kart, which isn't bad, it's just personal preference. Visuals are well done. The animations are quick, clean, and responsive. And the transitions between the 3 terrains is seamless and really smooth. The way you go from boosting to drifting, tricking, and speed boosters are also really responsive. The main mechanic of the cross world, where the track changes to a completely different map on the second lap, and then when you return to the third lap, the map has also changed a bit, like going from daytime to night at the museum, for example. There's a wide range of power-ups you can use, and there's a lot of additional unique mechanics like the gadget system. The biggest complaint I've heard is the ability spam, which personally I like, but I understand why many people don't. Now, it's hard to keep up to date with everything that Sega has been doing so far because they're in like full advertiser mode, releasing new content and announcements, especially for Sonic Racing, basically on a daily basis. But why am I even bringing all this up? Well, it's because being a Sonic fan is kind of peak right now, and it's showing a bright future for the Sonic franchise. So, what's next after Sonic Racing? Well, I'm just hoping Sonic Team focuses on some more story-driven games, learning from the previous ones that they've released. That, and that they keep improving upon the level design of Shadow Generations, and just overall game design as a whole. My next guess is that Sonic Team's next major release will be another mainline Sonic game with Sonic as the protagonist. Though with the success of Shadow Generations, and if Sonic Racing Cross Worlds does well, it's highly possible that more spin-off games where Sonic isn't the main focus will be released. Something like a Team Chaotix game, which I know some people have been asking for years, or another Shadow game. A bit wishful thinking for the former, but it's still possible. I'm just really happy since this reminds me of the days back in the early 2000s of playing Sonic Adventure 1 and Sonic Adventure 2 on the GameCube with my brother and other friends. It also just reminds me of grinding the Chao Garden for hours, or even playing Sonic Unleashed on the PS2 and absolutely loving that game. I'd love to hear what your thoughts and experiences are as a fan, what got you into the series, what you're hoping for, and so on. Until next time, thanks for watching.